What is a sign of a cry for help that isn't obvious to the average person? Some people become very quiet and docile, like if they've resigned themselves to the minimum. Alternatively, anger and irritability can be a symptom of depression. It's harder to empathize with someone who's having angry outbursts, but it's still important to recognize. I've never been the angry kind of person. I've always been easygoing, and even when wronged I would feel sad and cry rather than being mad. After years of depression, anxiety and trauma, I've become so irritable and angry, I don't recognize myself and my feelings anymore. It feels like no matter what bad feeling I have, the first feeling I feel is always this strong, overwhelming frustration. Purposely avoiding sad and difficult topics. Sometimes when a person is constantly feeling like shit, the last thing they want to do is bring up more negativity when hanging out with people they enjoy being around. Oftentimes being with friends/family can be a brief escape from always feeling awful, and so bringing up negative topics can ruin this feeling of escape and make the depression feel never-ending and suffocating. Maybe they took weeks to tell you they failed a test or even dropped out of school. Maybe you randomly hear from someone else that their dog died. Maybe they always switch the radio station from the news to pop songs. Could be anything big or small, usually multiple things. Sudden drastic improvement in mood of a depressed person. It could be a sign they have a plan to commit suicide and feel better because they know it's gonna end soon. Now this hit close to home. I remember my family noticing I became a lot more smiley and cheery around the same time that I had begun preparing to end it. My sister in particular, who had been suicidal in the past, had begun to sit down with me and just talk for a little while every night once she noticed. That ended up helping me quite a lot. Marked differences in behavior where the person becomes way more positive and energetic than normal. We tend to think of these sorts of changes as being good, but any sudden and large enough change in behavior is something you need to keep an eye on. This is especially true if they are going from a very negative pattern of thinking/behavior into an uber positive one very quickly. Usually, those "now I feel like I can conquer the world" changes are the precursor to suicide attempts and the like. Yep, sadly it's very common for suicidal people to feel relieved and at ease when they finally decide on the date and the method to kill themselves. It's like a really serious version of when you wake up feeling sick, debate with yourself whether it's worth going into work, then the relief and ability to sleep and rest that comes with calling out for the day. Lack of interest. Gamer all of a sudden no longer games? Gardener let his plants die? Social butterfly now hides in a cave. How sudden have you noticed this change happens? Are we talking overnight or over the course of days/weeks/months? It depends on the person. I'm specifically in this answer as I had around 50 houseplants, unique. I had about 65 with a few repeats, that I cared for every day and loved to show off and talk about to anyone willing to listen. They gave me something to look forward to, every day. I knew each one inside and out and knew how to take care of them perfectly. I was so proud that I could make them flourish. Things happened in my life and slowly, over the course of a few months, all my plants were gone. I didn't want to wake up every day, and now, without my plants, I didn't have a specific reason to do so. I started throwing them out at first, but after a while I just left them there. In every room I had a few reminders that I was a lazy failure who let the things he used to care for greatly wither and die. I'm still an alcoholic. I still haven't gotten another plant to take care of. I still have the withered remains and faded reminders hanging around my house. I'm working hard to get out of this, and when can get out of it I hope I can get one plant to put time and effort into. But right now even that is too much. Edit, everyone here is very kind, thank you all very much. You're not a lazy failure, just going through a rough patch at the moment, which is okay, it can happen to anyone. These are tough times we are in, but tough times never last forever. I don't know you personally or know what your particular struggle is, so I don't want to come across as dismissive in any way, but I think you'll come out the other side of this stronger and happier dude/dudette. Keep working hard, and I hope someday in the near future you'll able to get back to your passion, be that continuing with the plants or finding something new. When someone is constantly busy so they don't give themselves time to think. Also when someone gives up on a lot of basic things like cleaning or doing washing up because they can't think about anything except what's bothering them. Functional depression is very much a thing. I knew a couple of people who kept extremely busy. One friend actually tried to work himself to death, no one noticed, just thought he was very tired, worked night shift and did as much out as possible while skipping breaks. Made me check in on a friend from school who tried to do like 10 clubs instead of focusing on 1 or 2. Keep an eye on busy people, make sure they're properly eating and sleeping, for real. One of my friends graduated top student in high school, aced all of her classes, and worked a full-time job teaching students her own age at a community center. On top of that, she reached her piano ARCT level by middle school, and was winning gold medals from fencing tournaments. The whole school knew about her, and obviously wanted her skills. But I knew her personally, and she was just suffering, probably more than most people. She had depression and anxiety, a severe extent. She didn't like herself, despite everyone wanting to be like her. She said she felt lazy, that she could be doing more, and didn't feel at all like she deserved any love. It just shows how real and unforgiving depression is. But I knew her personally, and she was just suffering, probably more than most people. She had depression and anxiety, a severe extent. She didn't like herself, despite everyone wanting to be like her. She said she felt lazy, that she could be doing more, and didn't feel at all like she deserved any love. It just shows how real and unforgiving depression is. This is the #1 indicator for me personally that I'm going from it's been a bad couple of days to full-blown depression. When I'm driving and there's a near miss with a car and I think it'd be good if they hit me. Or I stand on the side of the road contemplating pretending to fall into traffic so it will look like an accident. I knew I was bad currently when someone I know of died of cancer and my first thought was I wish it was me. Edit, thanks to everyone who replied, except the bloke who called me a selfish cunt. You can have no thanks. I'm getting help as much as possible under current circumstances. My lovely doctor is calling every psychologist she can find, but the waiting lists are ridiculous right now. I'm on mood stabilizers on top of an increase in my usual antidepressants to see me through until I can see a psych. I had a good 5-day run last week, no tears, only feeling a bit flat, but the black cloud came back yesterday just in time for this post. Reaching out and being overly nice to friends both close and casual with the hope that they will reciprocate and eventually ask them how they're doing, so that when they open up it's not about being a burden but because they were prompted to do so. When I was going through some shit I felt like I really needed someone to ask me if I was okay, because answering no felt like a huge relief and just got me talking to someone. Ultimately that led me to seek counseling, something I'm not sure I would have done otherwise. But I wasn't about to just drop my issues on someone unprompted. I needed someone to ask first, otherwise I'd just feel like an asshole for burdening someone else with my problems when they didn't ask or consent to that, even close friends and family. Sometimes asking those small talk questions can be profoundly therapeutic for someone in crisis who's afraid to reach out for help. Thank you for listening to another B-Town Reddit Stories episode. Hit the subscribe button and check out our channel for more stories. Let us know your opinion about this topic in the comments.